I think I just found the part that I tuned in on when I hit the road again to go home. So this was the conversation that I was watching that I think that she has some smart takes, but I think she really missed the mark on this one, and I'm disappointed by it. Um, anyway, she just said that her sister likes mushrooms, and that she doesn't, but she helped her sister buy them. And I'm quite certain that is exactly where I came in. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you. You decide.
Kind of how things work. So, to the degree that we can say, yeah, I like this bill. And I think one of the things that makes, I don't think that the media that isn't emphasizing it and the people who aren't emphasizing it are necessarily doing it out of laziness or lack of knowledge or meanness or political orientation. So much as there has been a thing in America, I think, really almost since Watergate, where it's not cool to say you like stuff. It's really cool to knock stuff down. Oh, I don't like. I mean, the one that gets me is cool to hate. Think of there are actors and bands and all that where it's like cool to hate, like Nickelback. Like, who cares? I mean, like, don't like them, like them. I don't care. But like that's like a thing, a cool thing to be mean and to, because you're never putting your heart on the line when you knock somebody down. You're putting your heart on the line when you're building somebody up. And Teddy Roosevelt talks about this. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to listen to the carpers. I'm not going to listen to the people who are yelling at me from the cheap seats, because the person who matters is the person in the ring. And the degree to which people are willing to put their heart in the ring and say, yeah, I want a government that does these things. I like, for example, that Kamala Harris went to Paris and didn't miss it, or to France, and didn't miss a track. I mean, she had an amazing trip to France, and it barely got covered in America, because it's just cooler to be like, oh, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible, than to say, hey, yeah, this is good. And I don't necessarily I'm trying to suggest that media figures should say, yes, this is good, although op-ed people can certainly do it. But even what gets covered helps to change the narrative. So covering Bannon last night instead of covering the infrastructure bill said the bully gets to control everything, and it doesn't matter that the teacher is up there trying desperately to get people to concentrate on the fact the butterflies are hatching. What I tried to do was write the story about the butterflies and say, oh yeah, you can't ignore the fact there was a bully in the back as well. So part of, I think, what would help to undercut this vigilantism and the bullying and all that you see is not only to write to Congress people, but to be willing to say, yeah, this is a good idea. Yes, I want voting laws. Yes, this is what I want. And to recognize that, people are going to make fun of you. It's much cooler to be like, well, I'm going to tear it all down. But one of the points that I always like to think about, especially for all you artists out there, is that it's much harder to create art than it is to destroy it. Every time we see one of these gangs or religious groups or whatever taking a baseball bat to a statue, I can swing a baseball bat, but I can't make a statue. And the creation is not only difficult and time consuming. At the end of the day, what else are we as human beings than creators or destroyers? But one of the things that has always jumped out at me is when people complain about things being a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Well,
Okay, that's where she lost me. That's it. I'm sorry, but I don't know where you're going with that argument. But what the hell, even? That's where you lost me.